Hey folks, how you doing? Is this coming through? I never know. Something went wrong? No, is it there? Oh, yep. Seems we are. We're live on YouTube. YouTube's live. How's everyone doing? So, had a really good gig yesterday. We played with Erna Ferry back in the singer Erna Ferry. We had 3 horns, rhythm section, drums, bass, guitar, piano. And those gigs, they're kind of interesting because there's a PA system, but it's really only for vocal PA. In a small hall, maybe it held 100 people, I'd like to say. You know, ticketed concert event. But it was cool, you know, and the band balances to each other and play musically, and it's all good, you know. One thing I thought I'd do today is I'm going to play a heap of John Scofield tunes, one of my favourite guitar players, and someone I've talked a bit about on the channel. If you're new to the channel, then thank you so much for being part of this and what I'm doing here. For those that don't know me, my name's Nick Granville. I'm a session guitar player from Wellington, New Zealand. Make my living playing these crazy things. I'm going to move that microphone. I hope it's not going to make a racket. Apologies if it does. I think that's better. Sounds better anyway. So I thought, today I had a lot of very positive feedback about the Strat bridge pickup. Seems that people were having the same kind of issues with the Strat that I was. So, if you got any questions or whatever, flick them in the chat, because I'm here and I'll read it. And I respond to questions if people got things you want to know, something I can help you with. Happy to. I'm going to start. This is a Sco tune called Hottentot. One of my favorites. It's off the album. I think it's off the one A Go Go. I think. Not actually sure. Can't remember. I never remember that sort of stuff. So that was a bit of fun. Oh, you made it. It says, yay, 5 o'clock somewhere. It's here. 5 o'clock. Whoa. AM, I guess you mean? 5 AM? Nighthawk here. I'm sorry, yeah, the times are not particularly good. Just why I did that impromptu live stream the other day to try and be hopefully a little bit more helpful for those in the US and places like that. That was a little bit of Hot and Tot. Backing track was by Mondo Kane. Any questions? Any stuff you want to know? Well, what is the question? Do you have a question? I'm going to change guitars because I'm playing Sco tunes. This makes more sense. No doubt you'll have seen this guitar before. My old 2008 John Scofield Ibanez guitar. I've talked about it before on the channel, but I was lucky enough to get to go on tour with Sco when he came to New Zealand, and we played in the hotel room before one of the gigs, and he asked to try my guitar, which was cool. He said he hadn't played one of these before. I hadn't had this guitar particularly on there. These strings are really old too. Man, it's almost embarrassing how old they are. They've probably been on here for years. Still sounds pretty good. It's funny how I play the Strat so much now, that I'm just so used to the Strat that I pick up the shorter scale length guitar like this, and now this feels foreign to me. Like I find up here I'm feeling like the fingers are bunched. Like I'll go for a fret and I'll be slightly over it or under it or whatever because of the scale length difference. So funny how that happened. It hasn't been that long. This is a backing track by Mr. Sunny Bass, and it's the only one I could find of this particular tune. This is a tune called Keep Me In Mind. Which is the classic thing people say to you, right? They come up to you and they're like, you catch up with various musicians or whatever, and they're like, man, keep me in mind if you ever need a bass player. Does anyone ever actually keep that person in mind and book them for gigs? I don't know. Maybe they do. It's a nice thing to say nonetheless. Let's get the volume up on that. Hopefully this is not going to give me any issues. But knowing my technical prowess, it probably will. This is such a beautiful tune. I've always liked this tune. And I like guitars that are in tune even more. It is freezing cold here in Wellington. And I can't have my little heater on in the studio here. It's just had it cranking for the last 20 minutes. It's warm. It's warm enough now. But man, it's cold. This weekend's been freezing. It got down to about 5 degrees, I think, overnight, which is about as cold as it ever gets here. Which for people in the US is about 40 degrees, I think, 35 Fahrenheit, something like that. Pretty cold. What are you used to, I suppose. If you live in Alaska, which my friend Kelly does.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Let's get a better level. Okay, we'll start that again. That was way louder than it seemed before. Try again. Let's get a good start on that. So this is Keep Me In Mind off the album Timelines? Or is it off Meant to Be? Can't remember.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's enough of that. That's kind of a tricky track because that bass line felt like it was all over the place. Made it really tough to kind of play. Oh man, it's all good. Awesome people will be here when they join in. It's often like this with live streams. I find that it'll start slow and then pick up as it goes along, and it's maybe it's due to the timing. I don't know, but it's all good. You're here. That's the main thing. Yeah, it's a pretty song. Yeah, I need to play this guitar more. I haven't played it much lately, and I've just been trying to put as many hours as possible into the Strat. So I realised there's a typo there. What I should have put in the chat was questions. I did that last time too. Maybe it's an autocorrect thing going on with my computer. Kind of an interesting song there. I'm in New Zealand. You're dead right, I am in New Zealand. And it's winter. Kind of an interesting song, that one. Keep Me in Mind. You've got this... is this guy... Do you know Big J from Works for Me? No, maybe I do. I don't know that I do know that tune. I saw the word big and J and I thought, oh, here we go. Is this going to be someone trying to trap me into saying something? I don't know if you guys follow MMA at all, but Michael Bisping, who's commentator for MMA, he has people all the time like putting little lines in the chat, and he reads them out, and then he realizes that someone's asked him to say something. Looking for Amanda Hug and Kiss, right? The old Simpsons line. No, I don't know that I know that song. I must have. I remember learning like a heap of them. And Works for Me, I actually learned I think I learned every tune off that album. But I don't know that I'm terrible with the names of songs. I don't know what it is about song names just disappear. It's like trying to remember what album Keep Me in Mind comes on. I should know. Anyway, this is Chank. I'm going to play Chank. I want to do that, which is from the Medeski, Martin and Wood stuff that he did, which I really like that album. A Go-Go and stuff like that. Yeah. I think they did a couple of albums. As is the case always, I have not even looked at these tracks. I literally made a playlist. I've never seen this one before. It's by Mantis Zigmantis. And yeah, it's just one I found on YouTube, which is what I usually do. And I'll just play along and hope for the best. Let's give it a go. Can do that. That's better. and nobody knows that outro. Actually, I heard a band the other day that knew that outro, and I was like, some buddies of mine from Auckland, and I was like, you guys actually play the outro that nobody ever plays, and I should learn it, but I never have. You broke them. What did you break? I broke them in. The drums, we split the head in 4 pieces. 2 arms, 2 legs, banging on it, man. Must have been pretty rough with it to do that. Hope everything's sounding okay, that you can hear it all. It'd be just my luck that there's no backing track coming through, because I have had that sort of thing happen before. And nobody told me. Everyone afterwards was like, I didn't know you were playing to a backing track. It's like, man, I just poured my whole guts out into that thing. And nobody heard it. So let's have a look. Jump back a second. My whole guts out into that thing. Yep, seems to be coming through. Well, that's good. That's a positive sign. Yeah, any questions, any stuff you want to know? Coming through? Oh yeah, there's a few people on there checking it out. Any questions, any stuff you want to know? There was a bunch of SCO tunes I really wanted to play, but I couldn't find backing tracks for them. That's the problem. I mean, one I'd love to do a version of, but there isn't one. How's it go? So I got to stop reading your comments. Oh, it's clear and nice. Great. Glad to hear. Wow. Lucky I didn't do it. I can't remember it. Yeah, lucky I didn't do that one. That would have been gone. Not You again, that's one I would have liked to have done. Another one I could have done, but I really want to play with some tracks instead of just playing solo, because I play a lot solo on here, you know. Yeah, like I said, it was a fun gig on the weekend. I really like playing with that band, and I love playing with Erna, and there was some special moments on that gig, you know. There was, she spent quite a bit of time talking about her partner Roger, who was the band leader, Roger Fox, and I did hundreds of gigs with Roger Fox. In fact, I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many gigs I've done with that guy. You know, he was a dear friend, and we all miss him a lot. And so it was really lovely for her to, you know, she was talking about how they met and what his favourite songs were, of which we did. He really liked Beautiful Love. That was one that he called on every gig, Days of Wine and Roses, things like that. Yeah, if we're playing jazz stuff, that is. If we're doing the more funky fusion stuff, he didn't obviously call it on those. But yeah, it was just a nice kind of vibe in a lot of ways, you know. And like I said, I like playing with that band. Okay, I'm gonna play another one. This is I'll Take Les from the album Hand Jive. I do know this one, Hand Jive with Eddie Harris. And it's funny. I remember asking Sco about this, like why there were a couple of tracks that Eddie Harris didn't play on, and he said, he had only budgeted a certain amount of money to have Eddie play on it, or something like that. You know, and they got to the end of the session, and Eddie apparently said to him, why didn't I play on those couple of tunes? He said, I didn't have enough budget, so I you know, just said we'd do them with a quartet or whatever. And Eddie was like, well, you should have said I would have done it anyway. Anyway, I wonder what this track's like. We'll see. Oh, thanks, man. Man, I'm not trying to hustle with what I'm doing here. This is just the whole thing with YouTube for me. Anyone who knows, has been around with what I'm doing here, knows that I'm not chasing views. I'm not really gonna. I'm not. I just do whatever I want with this. It's like, to me, while it's fun, that's as long as I'll keep doing it. I'm not trying to be famous. I'm just trying to do my thing. And as long as I can keep playing music and doing music in the way I want to be doing it, because that's the important thing, right? I know a lot of people end up, maybe they're successful with easy listening kind of music, and it's not the music that really speaks to them. What's the point? Like, you're highly unlikely to get rich out of being a musician. So just do the music you want to do in the way you want to do it. This is how I look at it. So anyway, this is hand jive. There's no count. There's a little bit. Okay. Had no idea how that was going to end. Hey, Steve-O7771. He's in the house. It's probably my favourite kind of guitar sound, that sort of sound. You know, that... It's kind of... It's not crunch. It's not like... But... It's like you take a clean sound, just push it up a little bit. Yeah, excuse me. It ain't about the money or anything unless you want it that way. Yeah, that's the way I look at it. I mean, money is a necessity to live, and, you can buy more guitars with money. Those are all good things, But it's not my motivation when it comes to music. I mean, of course, I've got bills to pay, there's all of that. I think it's really important to do the music you want to do. I mean, but then what do I know? It's funny how you can hit a chord and you kind of just hear a certain song. Not a John Scofield song. What is the note? No. It's a huge Police fan. Still am. I think the Police were one of the great bands. The amount of hit songs those guys had, just awesome. I can't play the melody at the same time. Great tune. And that's the chord that everybody gets wrong. I've seen so many bands play this song and they go, it's not. See what I mean? it is. Someone's deciphered that code for what that is, right? Got the multi-tracks and found there's actually 3 chords together. I think one's that, one's something up here, and you put the 3 parts together and bring, that's that chord, right? MKG. I don't know any MKG. Sorry. I've heard the name, but I've never listened to the music. So after this live stream, I will go and have a listen to some MKG. Yeah. If it said MKG, is it, or is it all one word? Excuse my ignorance on this. I found out something quite funny in the weekend. I was watching this video, and it was Mason from Vertex. I've known Mason for a while, and I was checking out this video, and he was talking to Chris Hayes, who I'm a big fan of. Chris Hayes, you know, I love Huey Lewis and the News, you know. Just great guitar parts. And he was talking about Chris Hayes, and he talked about the origin of how he kind of hooked up with Chris Hayes. I'd love to have Chris Hayes on the channel, it'd be amazing. And he was saying that he got in touch with his brother Kevin Hayes in San Francisco, and I was like, mind blowing. Like, I've known Kevin for a while. He's a part of a crew of San Francisco guys that I know, Dave Mathews and Dwayne Payton, those guys, and Chris Kane are all mates from the San Francisco Bay Area. And Kevin plays drums with those guys a lot, you know. He was a drummer in Robert Cray's band, apparently. Although I didn't know him from that. I knew him from association with those guys. But then when I heard they were brothers, I was like, of course. You can see it now. But I never picked it at the time. I'm going to tune. Yeah, I will check him out for sure. Thanks for the heads up. I've heard the name. I don't remember. It's quite possible that I have heard the music too, because I'm terrible with the names of stuff. I just don't remember the names of songs anymore. Maybe I just learnt too many songs. You mean gauge of strings on here? These are 10 to 46. For the longest time, I've been at 11 to 49. Which is what I have on here. These are 11 to 49 Alexas, and these are a really old set of strings, but I've told this story before, but when I was doing We Will Rock You, and having to do all those, you know, big... You know, all that sort of stuff, which was pretty fun. I didn't use this guitar. Actually... You know, and you're doing that 8 shows a week, and I found that my arm was getting really sore, so I went down to 10s after that, and I just have stuck with 10s since. I don't ever want to get that have that happen again. I was getting like real pain down here when I was playing. So yeah, these are 10 to 46. I don't think they sound as good, if I'm perfectly honest. And it's such a subtle thing. I know there's a lot of people say you can't hear the difference, but the player can hear the difference, and at least feel the difference. I like a little bit of fight from the strings. I don't like strings that are too kind of floppy, if you know what I mean. Like it's being winter here and being freezing cold in Wellington. guitars go out of tune all the time. I have had the heater running, but yeah, these are Elixir Nano Webs, the 10 to 46, and I usually buy them 3-pack. It works out cheaper. Still $60, you know, but it works out cheaper. I've tried a whole lot of strings. These guys gave me a bunch of strings, which is really nice. I quite like the String Joys. If I was not going to using Elixirs, that's probably what I'd go for. It's the String Joys. But Elixirs just work. I did buy a set of these to try too. I gotta stick them on at some stage. Can you see? Is it going to show up? Diodario XS, which are apparently a coated string, but I'm just so used to this. Oh, great. Well, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. And anyone else who hasn't subscribed, now's your time. Yeah, I mean, subscribing it really helps. Like, I've noticed with the YouTube thing, if you get a lot of likes on a video, they start pushing it out to more people. It's like the algorithm, not that anyone seems to have it figured out, but it's from what I've heard. People said, well, if like a video is getting attention, then they push it out to more people. So it's sort of like the popular being more popular, which is unusual, isn't it? Because sometimes the videos that, if people just saw the content, they'd probably, I hate that word too, content. If people saw it, then they'd probably like it. You know what I mean? Now, Brian, did you tell me you were at the Kapiti Coast? Is that right? We played there on Sunday with Erna Ferry at the Paikakariki St. Peter's Hall. Oh, you're in the hut. I grew up in Lower Hutt in Stokes Valley of all places. My mother's still in the same house. No worries. No, that's good. We're actually playing the same show in Featherston next week on Saturday, so that'll be cool. Yeah, so these are 10 to 46, and I think that seems to be about, I think 10 to 46 on a Strat is a really good option, because I found with heavier strings, you've got more tension because of the strings, so you have to put more springs in the back, and then that makes the tremolo feel kind of a little bit odd. Like 3 springs seems to be about ideal, or even 2. I played a guitar at the NAMM show, Macmillan, is it? Is that the brand? And it's sort of a Strat type guitar. And I was like, got the tremolo, and I was like, whoa. No, it wasn't Macmillan, it was Fibonacci. It was the David Beebe version. My buddy David Beebe was his version of a Strat type guitar, and the tremolo was like butter, just awesome. And I asked the guy, and he said, "Oh, 2 springs in the back." I guess they had 9s on it, and so therefore, because there's almost no tension with it, it was like butter. If you're in the hut, Rory McCartney, really good. He's in Petone. Flick me a message on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll keep an eye out for it, and I'll send you his details. He's on the Petone Esplanade there. Yeah, Rory's great. If you want to come into Wellington, then Rob Mathews, who's in Dixon Street, or and there's another guy, the Fuzz Doctor, but I've not had his stuff before, but people speak highly of the Fuzz Doctor. But I've had Rob do stuff over the years, and he's really good, and Rory's done stuff for me, and they're both really good. any hot takes that you all can think of that you hear people say all the time? I'm actually thinking about doing a video, and I've kind of brought this up a couple of times on my channel as something, and I've got some ideas I'm going to formulate, because I see people saying hot takes all the time. I saw someone say the other day, why would anyone listen to him? He's got half the subscribers of this person. And I thought, since when does subscribers mean anything when it's in terms of like someone's knowledge of something? I thought that was really odd. I mean, by that theory, I'm a better guitar player than Rob Harris because I've got more subscribers than he has. So it doesn't mean shit. Like, just it's a bizarre thing. Do you know what I mean? Or all kinds of other players, that are. I mean, there was a time when I had more subscribers than Corey Wong. Corey's freaking great, It doesn't really mean, Marty Schwartz has got like millions, right? And, does that mean he's the greatest guitar player around if he's got more than anyone else? It means he's got a business on there, Something that really cooks. You want me to play something heavy? Man, I don't know that I know much heavy these days. I used to know there's some Black Sabbath stuff back in the day. Ozzy really, he did a lot for music, didn't he? I'm going to play another Sco tune while we're on that vibe, because, I don't want to get too far off from it. This is John Scofield, Funky Blues, backing track in B-flat. It's not a Sco tune, but it's a Sco type vibe. Let's go to this one. Hopefully this is going to work. Man, tuning. It's funny, I get the occasional session where I have to do like some kind of heavier stuff, heavier metal, and I remember doing one session for a TV show like some years ago. It was probably 10 years ago, maybe longer. And they said, we got this track we want you to play, and I did 30 sessions for them in a month. Like, it was busy, and because I had to get this TV show like out. And they said, can you bring your Les Paul? And, the Fender amp that you normally use is not really going to... It was pre the days of the fractal, right? Could have just dialed it up on the fractal and got it done. But it was like... So I went to the music shop and I got a Mesa Boogie triple rectifier. And that and a Les Paul was like beefy. It was so much fun. Yeah, there we go. I'll wait till it comes around the top. Yeah, it's a fun track. Right guitar to do it. Yeah, it's funny, the Strat thing, it's sort of... I used this on the gig on the weekend, and it was interesting because Anna had said to me, well, we're going to be playing some Beatles songs. And I thought, well, if I bring more of a jazz guitar, because I didn't know, she often does some jazz stuff and then whatever else. Not really going to work for the Beatles stuff, so I thought I'd take the Strat to the rehearsal. And even the jazz stuff, like this worked really well. So, some of that sort of stuff, you know what I mean, like Freddie Green type stuff, and then she did some sort of more trad stuff, and she did the Beatles stuff, but more swingy kind of bluesier versions of them. There was a band called the Blues Beatles. I think they're from Argentina, and that's where she got the idea from. So the Strat just worked for it. So it's such a versatile guitar, you know what I mean? You can do kind of anything. You can't really do metal, so that's why even with that, the heaviest sound I've got dialed in here, doesn't really get that. I've got to figure out what's going on with my fractal too. I don't know why I'm getting... The reverb should be spilling over, and I don't know what I've done wrong. It'll be user error. This is due for some new strings too. The way I tell when to change your strings is with Alexas, and with any coded string really, but particularly with Alexas, what tends to happen is the D string starts to go a bit furry because you're pick hitting it, right? It's wearing out the coating, right? And the D string, being the thinnest of the wound strings, is the one that's going to wear the first. So by the time that goes, that's usually time to change your strings, right? Because with coded strings, you don't have to change them all the time, like regular strings. But the other thing is when it stops staying in tune. Like this is... So that's a bit out. Yeah, intonation is slipped, which I think is the strings. Yeah, it sounded okay. I mean, you can get by on a Strat with it, but it's not that kind of sound. The other thing too is like more country kind of thing, but I don't really do that anyway. I mean, you sort of can. I just prefer a Telecaster for that sort of thing, Yeah, it is a John Scofield. This one. I've done a review video on my channel, so check my channel and you'll be able to see my review about it. And it was interesting because I've reviewed like lots of guitars over the years, but I didn't do a review for this one. And I'd had this for years, like probably 15 years by the time I got around to actually reviewing it. These are great guitars. They're really workhorse guitars. Everybody I know who's bought one of these Scofield guitars loves them and, finds it the same, I don't know if you all know Pickup Jazz. Sam Blacklock, the founder and kind of main guy in Pickup Jazz, he's a Kiwi, he's from New Zealand. He used to come up and have lessons with me on occasion, and he came up one time and he wanted to try this particular guitar because he was thinking about buying one. They didn't have any in stock for him to actually try it. So he came up and tried this. He bought one and he's had it all those years and as well, and they just... this is the JSM 100, and I've had it. It's 2008, I think. I think that's what year it is. So I think that is the highest end model one. I think there's a JSM 10, maybe. I've never played one of those. I assume they're all right. Whoops. They come complete with dings in them like that. But you can see it's just, they're quite heavy. They're not a light guitar, but 335 type guitars like this generally are kind of heavy because they're you're fighting the urge to just repeatedly yell out requests. And I've seen a few of them there, like, please and thank yous go a long way, people. Not that I'm your dad telling you what to do, but you know what I mean? Nah, it's all good. I can highly recommend this. I haven't changed anything on it with the exception of the second volume and tone. I took that off because I just like simple, one volume, one tone. I changed the pickup selector a lot, and I find that when I go to any 2 volume, 2 tone guitar, I'll turn it down on the bridge pickup, for example, and then I switch to the other pickup, and all of a sudden the volume's up, it's really loud, and I never kind of go to the middle position and blend. That's not me. So yeah, I can highly recommend these. They're great. JSM 100. Yeah. I've never tried the JSM 10, but I assume it's okay, and I don't know about any other models. And I used to be an Ibanez guy, so and the fact that I'm not anymore, and I'm still telling you to get one, should tell you how good they are. I don't know if they are thinner than the regular Art Star. I don't know. Maybe. The back arches a bit, like it's not flat. So maybe it's thinner here, but because it's curved, it's got a bit of curve to it, ends up being the same thickness in the middle. I'm not really sure. But yeah, they're really good. And they have an interesting thing. They have a 7 1/4 radius, like a Strat, but they compound down to about a 10-inch radius. So it's super comfortable for chords like a Strat. But then the higher notes don't choke out because it's got the different radius down this end. But it's got big jumbo frets in it. They're either medium jumbo or jumbo frets. And because you have the big frets, the radius feels different. And with the ebony fretboard, it feels different. And with the nut width being wider, like a 335, like a 59 style, and a fairly sizable neck, it feels different. So it's sort of this really comfortable. And the action on this is crazy low. I've got the action down to about 1 millimeter, I reckon, probably, especially on the high strings. And it's never ever buzzed any time I think I've had it set up twice since I've had it. So yeah, but I've been enjoying playing the Strat, and I've been playing the Strat heaps. Mostly because for me it's like, I did some thinking about it, and I thought, like, what guitar do I most identify with in terms of the music I want to play? And I think for me it's more a Strat sound than a humbucker sound. And the reason for that is I play a lot of funk gigs, or a lot of like fusion-y type things, Probably more so, definitely more so than I play straight ahead jazz stuff. So like if I was doing more straight ahead jazz stuff, then probably like a 335 type guitar or an arch top or something like that would be your main kind of axe. Now I've got one. There's 2 arch tops up there. I've got an old Gibson, and I've got my Ibanez AF 2000, and then I've got the Sco, which is like kind of in between. Yeah, but that's but just love that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? And that's what this instrument does. But you can do rock stuff, you can do blues stuff, you can do a lot on it, I have a Prestige AZ and a FRH10N. This would be my first, I don't know what the FRH is, but this would be my first hollow body guitar. Cool. That's a good one then, And the thing with those Sco guitars is like a 335 like that, they've got a center block, so they're not like fully hollow. So you do get the kind of benefits of the hollowness. It gets a bit more of a woodiness to tone, a bit more open kind of sound. But you don't get the feedback. So they're actually really good blues guitars if you want to kind of get into a blues thing, or you can, of course, play jazz on it to some degree. So it doesn't really sound like an archtop jazz guitar, but it can do that a bit. You can do like really good rock guitar, put it on the bridge pickup and rock out, and it'll... In fact, I'll show you. drop the Strat a little bit hard just then. So this is, I mean, it can do the funk thing, but not. You see what I mean? It can do that, but it's not really the kind of thing. But, you know. You know, real pretty for ballads like that, but then, like I mentioned, you can rock out with it too. You know, so it can do all that kind of stuff. So you can do a lot of different things. But then, of course, they're good jazz guitars too. You know, can do a lot of different things. But it's just, yeah, just finding myself. The other thing too is with the Strat, it's just more comfortable. Yeah, it's interesting that Steve Vai has got one as part of his arsenal now. I saw that too. But what I found interesting, I don't know if you all saw the rig rundown of Steve Vai the other day. I think it was Toman or something like that. And it was Doug, his guitar tech. I don't know Doug's surname. But Doug was saying that he had taken that guitar and I think they'd filled up the F holes, and they'd repainted it purple with all these like swirls and stripes on it. So it looks nothing like that. And then they'd planed the fretboard, so it's down to a 14 or a 16 inch radius, like really flat, and put big frets in it again. So it felt, and shaved the neck down so the neck was thinner. And I thought, that's interesting. It kind of sounds like he's trying to make it more like a gem in terms of its. Yeah, it was really cool. I got to meet Steve Vai when he was here in New Zealand, and he was really cool, man. What a great guy. And you know, went and saw his gig, and the gig was killing. Man, Vai still plays his ass off. He, you know, he's so musical, and he's just got it down what he does. You know, you see some musicians and you kind of go, they're kind of figuring out who they are. Nah, Steve Vai knows who he is, and he knew who he was for a long time, you know. He wants to be the rock god and do the whole thing that, you know, and he played his ass off. It was so good. And then afterwards, Ibanez organised a get-together, so that I went with the Ibanez guys here from Musicworks. Got to hang out with him, and you know, I thought he'd only just stop and say hi. He stayed and chatted for about 15 minutes and told me a bunch of stories, and he was a real sweet guy, you know. Yeah, they definitely made it more Steve Vai. That's the great thing about touring with a tech like that. The tech, Thomas that he had was, I mean, a legend for a start, but the guy he's got now seems to know everything about everything. I mean, there's not a lot of techs actually who tour with people who could actually plane a fretboard down, reshape a neck, and put new frets in a guitar and have it, like, you know, but as well as like do any work that needs to be done inside an amp or any kind of stuff. He's a pretty clever guy. Oh, cool. Yes, Steve, definitely one of the greats and such a kind person. I had a chance to meet him during his India tour. Oh, awesome. Man, I've always wanted to go to India. My favourite food is Indian food, and I would absolutely love it. My buddy Warren Mendonza and I were talking about it, because he goes over there quite a bit, because he's from India, of course. And he was talking to a promoter about it, and man, I just want to get over there. I want to eat that food, soak up the sounds, and meet the people, you know. I know so many Indian people, and they're all really lovely people. Yeah, so I'm going to have to go in a minute, folks, because I usually try to keep these to about an hour. Oh, I see the FRH10N is the nylon. The N on the end, I should have seen that, right? I have a couple of nylon strings back there. Actually, I have the nylon string Yamaha Silent, which I use whenever if I think it's going to be like a big outdoor stage. I'll do that, or if I've got an Ibanez nylon string, which has which is more like a normal classical guitar, and then I have an Ovation nylon string. Oh, which one? That one. I can grab that and show you if you like. I had a student round today for a lesson, and he didn't have a guitar with him. He'd just come straight from something or another. So he played this. This is Talman Prestige, and and that's not relic. That's like proper gig war wounds on it. You know, it's got a bunch of dents and chips and stuff, and it's just been played. When we went to Europe, this is the one guitar I took, and it did have a pickup in here. Now it's got a hole in the middle. And I took the pickup out to put into my Ibanez AZ because I wasn't enjoying the noiseless pickups that I had in there at the time. So I was using this. The only thing I don't like about this guitar, it's the one thing that I would change, is the nut width is kind of narrow for my liking, you know. It's a good guitar, and it does some stuff, you know, locking tuners on this. They did a lot of things right with these, except for this nut width for me. It's like, I think it's 40 millimeters, and my other one's 43, which is what but I will put another pickup in there eventually. I just haven't got around to it, because it works as it is. Maybe I should just put a little cover over it so it's not a gaping hole. I changed these pickups too. These aren't the original pickups. This is a Mr. Glenn mini humbucker, and that one's a Mr. Glenn, who's a New Zealand maker, and that one is a, what does he call it? Cruel Mistress, and it's really good. You can see it pushes pretty hard. It's like a hotter telly pickup, but it still has that brightness, and I've got 500k pots in here, so it's sort of, it's kind of working. But yeah, we just don't get stuff like this here in India. Really? I thought you had access to everything in India. I thought India was really good for getting. So I remember Warren saying that, every gig he went to, there was really good backline, and it was all provided, and I was like, man, maybe it's just New Zealand where it's hard to get stuff. I'm envious of my American friends who can just go and order whatever they want on Amazon whenever they want, because we don't have Amazon here. We do, but it's not really. And yeah, so anyway, I'm going to have to go, people. Like I said, I try to keep this to about an hour, and it's been an hour 15. So thank you very much for joining me for the weekly live stream. If you haven't liked and like the video and subscribe, that really helps. Hi, Patrick. These are the original pickups. This is a Japanese Strat made in Japan from the 90s. It's 94 or something like that. And when I bought it, it basically hadn't been played. I can show you this. Hopefully this is going to show up. I'll get my head. Can you see that mark in the middle of the neck? About there somewhere? That's, to me, is pretty clear that it's been sitting on a guitar stand with the bit around here, right? And it's probably sat there for 30 years. 30 years of not being played, because it's 31 years old now. So when I got it, it had barely been touched. Now all these, like, there's a dent there and things, and, you know, I mean, I use my stuff. I don't abuse it. I look after it, but it's like, you know. Man, thank you so much for joining me, people. Oh, Dave Barry joined just at the end again. And the other thing too is I love tremolos now. That's one reason that I've kind of gone back to the Strat. Is this guitar here. I'll show you this before I go. When I bought this guitar when we were doing We Will Rock You, I bought this. These are amazing. By the way, these DGT SEs, the SE versions. These are the only SE versions guitars I've ever played that I like. But I got having the tremolo, you know. Just that subtle little thing on chords. I don't really use it when I play single notes, you know. Just for that. Real subtle. Like, I wouldn't use it for that. It would be... Yeah, I do that too. The old, you know, where the hanger kind of marks the guitar. But that's the person who had it before me for 30 years. But I don't think they played it. I think it just sat on a stand for 30 years. Probably in getting a little bit of sunlight or whatever. And just, you know, in Japan. And so everything's kind of yellowed a little bit, you know, just with age. And it's kind of really nice now, you know. I am going to put new wiring in it. That's going to the next thing I'm about to do. I was talking with someone about that today. I really want to rewire this and get proper size, full size, proper pots in it, because it has the Asian small pots, and I always find they taper very weird. They're not smooth turning down. They get really dark. So, yeah. Yeah, it's a great sounding instrument. And it's funny because I actually played another Japanese Strat that came to New Zealand. There's a music company here who's going over there and bringing instruments back now. And it was the same era, but the other one had been played heaps. And I played it, and I remember playing a chord. Bit more in tune than that one. You can just hear the amount of sustain and ring it's got. Like, everything's working together. Because a lot of the 90s Fender American guitars weren't particularly great, you know. There were some good ones, but they weren't making their best stuff there. Oh, man. Wow. Maybe... Do you have the tone? Yes, I do. Just that video I just put out about the Strat bridge pickup, I showed that's one of the first things I did was I got bridge pickup, tone control on its own, and then this tone control is for those two pickups. Actually, no, it's not. It's just for neck. That pickup, I don't even have a tone control attached to it. Yeah. Just rings. And the other one actually was even nicer too. And I was kind of, with this one, I wasn't even sure because I thought, man, it just hasn't been played. It needs like years of just someone like beating on the thing and getting it, you know. And I thought, well, I can be the one to do that, you know. And it wasn't that dear, you know. Like, this was cheaper than like even a new Japanese guitar, and I got one with 30 years on it that's just kind of worked its way in with great woods and everything, you know. So I got lucky. Yeah, well, I'll let you know if I ever do decide to get rid of this one. These are great, and like I said, this one's pretty beat up. This is the Prestige model too, by the way. And it just had 2 pickups. It never had the third in the middle. I had that done by a luthier here. So, and it's worth even less now. I just banged it again. I don't know. I don't think I could sell it, because instruments like that, they're really useful for doing sessions in particular, because that one has like a really beefy kind of single coil sound. So if I had to record some Bryan Adams type guitar stuff, for example, then that would be the guitar I'd go for that kind of beefy, it's only love type sound. Anyway, I gotta go, people. Thanks very much for joining me. I will see you soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Cheers.